I'm typing this from my honeymoon suite, and honestly, this story feels more satisfying to share than sipping cocktails by the beach. My name is Lena, 28F, and I recently married the love of my life, Jordan, 29M. What should have been a peaceful and joyous event turned into a revenge-fueled family feud, served ice cold. Let me take you back. I grew up as the invisible daughter in my family. My older sister, Claire, 30F, was the golden child. Claire was loud, entitled, and constantly showered with praise, while I was treated like an afterthought. If Claire said I did something wrong, my parents believed her without question. If I did well in school, they shrugged. Claire got a B. Party. I got an A+. Silence. By the time we were teens, things got worse. Claire had few friends. Her bullying tendencies didn't exactly attract people. Meanwhile, I was relatively well-liked. That only added fuel to her jealousy. She turned my parents against my friends, claiming they were bad influences. And suddenly, I wasn't allowed to go out anymore. She'd flirt with my boyfriends and then lie that they hit on her. Naturally, my parents sided with her every time. College was the first chance I had to breathe. I earned a full scholarship and left home. Claire, of course, flunked out of her mediocre college and moved back in. She landed a job where my mom worked, thanks to connections, not merit, and life at home returned to the usual imbalance. Meanwhile, I flourished on my own, worked hard, and eventually met Jordan, my calm in the storm. Jordan is the complete opposite of me. I tend to internalize things, while he confronts them head-on. He's witty, strategic, and absolutely hates injustice. So when we got engaged, he was fully aware of my toxic family dynamics and was ready to protect me at all costs. We decided on a low-key wedding in my hometown since most of my extended family lives there. That's when the nightmare started. My parents asked to meet Jordan before the wedding. I hesitated, but he insisted on going alone, saying he wanted to handle them himself. Armed with a hidden audio recorder, yes, seriously, he went to their house and came back grinning like a villain in a rom-com. "You won't believe what they just proposed," he said. Claire and my parents had sat him down and made an unhinged demand. They wanted Claire to walk down the aisle before me, in a white wedding gown at my wedding. Their reasoning: it's not right for the younger sister to marry first. They even wanted professional photos taken of her in the dress and promised to throw her a symbolic mini-reception after the ceremony. I was stunned. Jordan, however, was thrilled. "We can destroy them with this," he said. And thus, Operation Karma was born. We pretended to agree. Jordan returned to my parents and said he'd convince me and surprise me on the big day. He sold the lie by painting me as overly emotional and controlling, someone who wouldn't fight back in public. He insisted everything be discussed in person. No texts, no evidence. Over the next few months, Jordan masterfully manipulated my family. He pretended to sneak Claire into vendor tastings and encouraged her to choose the most expensive options. Then he'd come back to me, and we'd have a good laugh while secretly upgrading to better options on our own dime, or convincing my parents to cover the cost in Claire's name. We even planted the idea that I would wear a dress my mother picked, a hideous thing, only to ruin it and use it as a distraction. Meanwhile, Jordan took a scrap of fabric from my real gown to prove to Claire that he'd destroyed my chosen dress. Then came the day of the wedding. Claire was supposed to arrive just before me, fully dressed in white. She and my dad were going to stall me until she finished walking down the aisle. But we had security. Only a select few guests knew our plan. We hired private security under the guise of venue staff and made sure they were briefed. Under no circumstances was Claire to be allowed entry once she showed up in a gown. We tipped heavily and guaranteed them support if anyone tried to argue. When Claire arrived in her white dress, she was stopped at the door. She threw a fit. My dad tried yelling at the guard. My mom screamed. Guests started to gather, wondering why the bride's father had vanished. Meanwhile, I entered with Jordan's father escorting me down the aisle. Gasps echoed around the venue. One of our friends pretended to be shocked and asked loudly, "Didn't her dad say she wasn't supposed to be here yet?" Cue the drama. Claire, still locked outside, was apparently crying and screaming. My mom tried to re-enter, but by then, people were whispering. Some guests followed the noise and caught the whole scene on video. Jordan walked over, confronted them calmly, and said he never agreed to any of it. "Why would I let someone else steal my wife's moment?" he asked. Of course, they had no proof. No text, no emails, just their word against his. He denied everything with a straight face while Claire flailed on the ground, and my parents turned purple with rage. We proceeded with the ceremony while security escorted my family off the property. Some guests left out of loyalty to them, but most stayed, especially after hearing what happened. The reception was amazing. For the first time, I felt like the center of something good. People were kind, supportive, and genuinely happy for us. Later, Jordan posted screenshots of my family's bizarre, threatening messages in our extended family group chat. He framed it as a desperate plea for help, saying they were trying to ruin our honeymoon. He asked relatives not to share our travel plans and ended with a fake hope they get help message that only made them look worse. Since then, nothing. Radio silence. Claire did send one delusional message accusing Jordan of betraying her and seducing her on purpose. We both laughed until we cried. Was it petty? Maybe. Was it satisfying? Incredibly. After years of mistreatment, being able to walk down the aisle without my sister in a bridal gown beside me was the closure I didn't know I needed.